Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So I started a Baldur's Gate 3 Honor Mode run on the channel, and I've been streaming live on YouTube for the past few weeks now. I've got about 600 hours in BG3, and I've beaten the game on every difficulty, even Honor Mode, prior to this stream, so I'm pretty well experienced in this game, although I know there are many of you out there who will have more hours than I do. However, despite the fact that I do have a lot of hours in this game, we did still suffer a few hiccups here and there, which we'll get into shortly. Just a quick note, I have the Omen 25L as my pre-built PC, and it's terrible, so all of the cutscenes and terrains and whatnot take forever to load in sometimes, so we'll get some pretty awful but funny cutscenes from time to time. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So, to make things easier on myself, I thought being a drow would be a good choice since there are so many dialogues and combats that can be easily skipped due to simply picking this race in Act 1. Also, I just like the drow. We make ourselves a muscle mommy, and I give her a name that I think sort of sounds drowish, Malevia. As for our class, we'll be playing an Oath of Vengeance Paladin / Swords Bard hybrid with 2 levels in Paladin and 10 levels in Bard being the main goal. However, for most of Act 1 we'll just be a normal paladin because it's an easier way to play in the beginning. We tried to fully optimize our stats by having all even numbers in our ability scores, as having odd numbers does not do anything in this game, or in D&D as a whole, and I make my Dream Visitor look like a Wood Elf version of my PC. After that, character creation is done, and we set off from the Nautiloid and begin our adventure. I won't bore you too much with the details of what happened on the ship, but we did rescue us without mutilating them, and we made an attempt to kill Commander Zalk, but it was in vain, so we wound up exiting the Nautiloid fairly quickly. And here we get a glimpse of our first horrible cutscene. Yeah, just take in that view. That's what I see every time I play this game. After crash landing, I gather Shadowheart, Astarion, Gale, and Lae'zel before taking on the first dungeon to get Withers. Withers is extremely important in Honor Mode because all of the companions in this game have pretty terrible stats, to be honest, at the start, so we can use Withers to reset their base ability scores and make them fully optimized just like our Muscle Mommy Drow. We have a bit of a rough time dealing with the humanoid enemies, but once we're past them, the skeleton fight is super easy and we've acquired the Bone Man. Now we're fully ready to take on the next big fight, which is outside of the Emerald Grove. Every time I do this fight, I post up on this hill, and I never have any issues whatsoever, honestly. If you're still doing this fight on the ground level,
stop it. Get some help.
We clean things up, acquire the Gloves of Power for Astarion, punch Aridin in the face because he just sucks, and we offer to help out Zevlor. Along the way, we pick up Will and add him to the party, making him somewhat of a mainstay in the group going forward. Warlocks are my favorite class to play anyway, just due to Eldritch Blast alone and Hunger of Hadar later on, so he's a good choice, and honestly, I just like Will. He's a good buddy. Anyway, Zevlor and Kaga tell us to talk to Nettie, and she lets us know that Master Halsin is the one to talk to about our parasite problem. Only issue is that he's been taken off by the goblins. We're more than happy to help out and get him back, but we're only level 3, and not well equipped to take on an entire camp filled with goblins just yet. So, we spend quite a while just wandering about, honestly, avoiding combat, and attempting to gather as much XP as possible. Except I couldn't help myself, so we did kill Aridin and his posse outside of the Blighted Village. Fuck that guy. While in the Blighted Village, we rescued Barkus Root, talked to the most charming devil in Avernus, befriended some ogres, and we made our way to our final companion before Act 2, Karlach, the hottest tiefling in the game. Literally. I also got us a gnome hireling from Withers that we named Lord Farquaad, and he's going to be granting us aid to give our party extra HP every single day. After walking around aimlessly for a while, I thought it would be a good idea to free Saza from the Emerald Grove to get easy access to the Goblin Camp. However, this was a big screw-up, because for one, as a drow you can already just walk into the Goblin Camp, and for two, I forgot I was a paladin, and I needed to adhere to the roleplay a bit, so I wound up breaking my oath doing this, becoming an Oathbreaker paladin. Because it cost so much money to respec, I decided to just roll with it, and we were an Oathbreaker for much of the rest of Act 1. Once inside the Goblin Camp, we did a few errands, but we were far from ready to take on the entire encampment yet, so we just stuck to the basics. We got branded by Priestess Gut, got beat up by the Leviatar guy, and we killed Gut's ogre. Then we left for Joaquin's Rest, saved the guy from the upstairs, and rescued Counselor Floric as well. Once that was all done, we went down into the basement and got introduced to the Zhentarim, and we actually accepted their quest to retrieve their shipment so we could get not only the really good crossbow, but the Titan string bow as well. I moved on into the swamp and we killed off the mud mephits and the gnarls, so that way we can fix Kaga and get her away from the influence of the Shadow Druids.
Let's see if we can do it. Oh! Muscle mommy.
From there, we ventured further into the swamp and came across Auntie Ethel's tea house. While I was borrowing some things from her house, I actually got caught by her, and I attracted the attention of all of the Redcaps in a combat that I was not prepared for. I broke the ladder so it would take them longer to reach me, and although Shadowheart went down quite a few times during the whole encounter, thankfully we were never really in any kind of danger, and we were able to take out all 4 of the Redcaps with pretty much no problem. After that encounter, I long rested, and in the morning I let Volo stab my eyeball out with an ice pick so I could get the permanent sea invisibility buff, and we moved on to tell Kaga that she was being a bit of an a-hole, to put things lightly, and through a little convincing we got her to aid us in killing the Shadow Druids at the Grove. Now that we'd been through a few combats and leveled up, I figured it would be a good time to kill the Harpies, which we did with keeping the kid alive, and I wanted to finally take out the Gnolls. I accidentally made Flynn attack the 2 guys working for the Zhent.
Wait, I'm confused. What did I just click? I guess I told her she could go kill those people.
But other than that, the encounter went really smoothly, and we were able to convince her to eat herself in the end as well. We robbed the Zhentarim blind after that by entering their underground storage area in the Underdark, and we used their platform to bully the Minotaurs below for some good XP. For the rest of the day, we also received the Necromancy of Thay by bullying the Magic Mirror, and we killed off the Paladins of Tyr, also looting their basement for goodies as well. Finally, I felt confident enough in my abilities to kill the Spider Matriarch, so we descended further beneath the Blighted Village to collect our kill. Importantly, the spider cannot die from being pushed off the map in honor mode, so we couldn't cheese her in that way. Instead, a very consistent method of damage against her is to burn the webs that she stands on and let the fall damage work its magic. She got a few good hits in on us, but nothing can really beat a party that's well prepared, so down goes the spider. Now, I was eager to gain more XP after this point, so we went off to parley with the Githyanki near the mountain pass. Unfortunately, Kithrak Voss was onto Lae'zel and I's scheme, and it triggered the combat session with the Gith.
Lae'zel, child.
Oh, shit. Shit, she failed the deception.
I had been putting this encounter off for quite some time because of this being a possibility, and I'd even stacked up inspiration specifically for this, only to be beaten on a check that I couldn't influence. Big bummer, to say the least. One by one, my party was slaughtered by the Gith soldiers, and while I should have been nervous, I wasn't. See, I foresaw that this was a possibility, so I had Astarion run back to camp while my PC, Shadowheart, and Lae'zel all bit the dust. If your entire party dies during an encounter, then honor mode ends. However, if one person remains standing, then you're fine. Astarion then used Withers to bring back the 3 of us who died, and all was well in the world once more. I did decide to go right back to the Gith and give it another go though, since I thought the only reason that we died was because we were unprepared. And I was right. They died pretty easily once we showed back up. Following the death of the Gith soldiers, I decided it was about damn time we actually explored the Underdark a bit further. Aside from getting bullied by the Bulette, who's like invincible in honor mode, we got quite a bit done. We met some Myconids, a really cool hobgoblin and his mind flayer buddy Omeluum, and we just killed some crazy people and discovered a bunch of fast travel locations throughout the rest of our time down there. And now, finally, it was time to take on the Goblin Camp and rescue Master Halsin of the Druid Grove. We get him out of his cell and take out everyone in that room and outside of the room before leaving Halsin to finish up a few loose ends in the Emerald Grove with the Tieflings.
I'm glad I thought of this. So we're gonna go back to the Emerald Grove.
Where are you going? We have work to do.
Okay, good shit.
It's okay. Halsin will be fine. We return to him and enter the next room with Minthara, making sure to click on non-lethal damage before attacking her so we can see her later in Act 2. We roll really good RNG during this time, scoring a clutch double hold person, and Minthara goes down no problem.
While we have non-lethal damage on. She's at 1 HP, because we dealt 19 damage, so we'll go like so. And she is now knocked out. Wow.
None of the other goblins were alerted to us because I threw the scrying eye in the pit, so yeah, it was pretty simple. And I feel like I'm forgetting to talk about something, though. Oh yeah, Halsin. He's still fine. I also forgot to mention, we did kill Priestess Gut earlier before all of this happened. We kind of just walked in there and assassinated her. It happened so quickly I forgot to put it in the script, so we'll just throw it in right here. On to the next room, we take on W'wargaz, who is the final boss that we have to take out in the Goblin Camp. And I really enjoyed this fight. I like taking this fight with a couple people on the rafters, so I usually post up really advantageously, getting Will, myself, Astarion, and Shadowheart all into position. And just as I was moving my PC into position, tragedy struck. I'd forgotten that Halsin, who was stuck to my PC as a follower, was, well, following me. So, as I was walking around at the backside of the arena from the rafters, Halsin's dumbass decided to follow me in a straight line from the floor, leading him directly into the eyesight of everyone in the room, and triggering the fight. But, yeah, don't worry. Halsin will be fine. Right?
Oh my god, Halsin... Oh no! Oh no! Halsin died! Oh god. Oh no. Oh god, Halsin fucking died.
Yeah, Halsin got obliterated here. That crit was insane damage. It took his bulky ass right out of wild shape, which is another bummer. Unfortunately, he cannot be revivified since at this point he's not a companion, so we have to say our goodbyes to him forever. His sacrifice was not in vain, though. Since he lured W'wargaz over to this ledge, we were able to use Eldritch Blast from the rafters to knock him inside of the spider pit. I'd like to think that Halsin would be proud to some extent, at least. After that, though, we finished off the room fairly easily, and then we went back to tell Zevlor about what had happened, before returning to slaughter every goblin in the name of our dead druid friend that we knew for like 5 minutes in actuality. We did bring the ogres into this fight as well, but unfortunately, because I convinced them so well to help me, I was not able to get the circlet off of them or kill them in time. Zevlor invited us to celebrate at our camp, and we told him that we'd meet up with him later, seeing as we had a few things to do before finally leaving for the mountain pass, which I was very excited to do for the prospects of new loot. We rescued Oscar Fevros and killed the Zhentarim, participated in the owlbear fight, making sure to leave the owlbear cub alive, and after telling Kaga about her dead boss, we left for the mountain pass, which screwed up the entire party at our campsite with the tieflings, and to be honest, I was a little bit annoyed at this, but oh well, not the biggest issue in the world. Once in the mountain pass, we immediately tried to pickpocket this old lady for her stuff, and we screwed up the first check, which meant that we had to kill her. Thankfully, she drops all of her good gear anyway, so we swapped out our old gear with the new drip. We killed some undead and then made it to the Temple of Lathander, where we fought some kobolds and Grimishka, and stole ourselves the Dawnmaster's crest so we could grab the blood of Lathander easily. We then did a 180 and went back to the Underdark to kill the Duergar for some more XP, since the Creche is a fairly high level area and I was getting a little scared. Thankfully, the fight with the Duergar was pretty easy. We ended our day in the Underdark in the Arcane Tower, slam poetrying our way out of a boss fight and looting the entire place top to bottom. At this point, I finally felt like I could take on Auntie Ethel, which was a boss fight that I'd been nervous for since the start of the run. Ethel is tricky since her legendary action is that any time she takes damage from a spell, she'll summon more duplicates. Thankfully, I didn't have to put up with her duplicates for long since I brought Gale with me, who has the spell Magic Missile, which can instantly dispel Ethel's clones in quick succession. Plus, we gave him the Psychic Spark Necklace, which gives the spell 1 extra missile whenever it's cast. We wound up getting Ethel low enough that she offered us a piece of her hair, which we used to permanently buff our charisma, and we said goodbye to the old hag after negotiating Mayrina's freedom from her.
Bye-bye, Ethel.
I decided then that it was time for a change of scenery, and we left for the Underdark once more to kill the Spectator, and I got to talk down to this guy because I was a female drow, which was pretty fun.
Loathsworn intimidation. I must have misheard you. Perhaps you'll speak louder from a rack in Menzoberranzan.
Forgive me, mistress. I would, of course, be honored to pass my research on to you.
Then I finally entered the Grimforge, and honestly, this whole entire area was a cakewalk. The cliff notes were that we allied with the Duergar, found the ancient forge, stole the rune powder barrel from this gnome, which is pretty funny.
Wait, what in the hells?
And then we iced True Soul Near. The Near fight was incredibly easy since we posted up from the high ground here with Will and Dastarian, so it was really a foregone conclusion on who was going to win. Oh, and we rescued Barkus Root and invited him to our camp. Feeling better about myself, I headed back to the Creche and hopped myself into the Zaith'isk. Someone in chat pointed out that you get a buff if you succeed all of your saving throws while in there, which I had never done, so I figured what the hell. We had 0 issues on our skill checks and we acquired the buff. By pretending to be brain dead, we are actually able to skip this combat that usually happens after here, which I was completely unaware of because I'd never gotten in the Zaith'isk myself, so that was kinda cool. I then made an audience with Inquistor W'wargaz by telling the Githyanki that I had the artifact they were looking for. As I walked into the arena, I walked directly past W'wargaz and obtained the Blood of Lathander in the hidden room off to his left. We gave the mace to Shadowheart and we walked back through the Creche, grabbing the Githyanki egg for our hot Gith girlfriend. I also finally made the swap over to being a Swordsbard / Oath of Vengeance Paladin at level 6 with 4 levels Bard and 2 levels Paladin. This was really a fun swap. We also unlocked the Actor feat to bump us up to 18 Charisma at Bard 4, and we gained access to Flourishes, which are absolutely broken. Combined with our now 22 AC due to our absurd gear, we have essentially become unkillable. We continue going through the level and secretly killing off enemies throughout the Creche to gain enough XP to get up to level 7 before the W'wargaz fight. We also pickpocketed some crazy items off of this merchant before killing her and her troops, which did bump us up to level 7. We killed just about every Gith in the Creche before attacking W'wargaz, and I was honestly really scared going into this fight since on my previous honor mode a few months ago, I got totally fucked up during this. Oh, also, I did some cosmetic updates on Malevia. Not really that important, but I wanted to mention it. Anyway, back to the W'wargaz fight. I got some fun advice from someone in chat to cast a warding glyph under W'wargaz's feet, and we were able to include this other Gith in there as well. This works because he's not aggroed on us until we either piss him off or we exit the Astral Prism. I chose to do neither and simply outright attack him. I set up with Astarion and Scratch actually stealthed in the corner, and I frontlined with Lae'zel, Shadowheart, and Malevia. Now, I opened with an attack from Malevia rather than with Astarion, who unfortunately misses her first strike. But that's fine. That's actually why I saved Astarion in the corner. We use him to follow up, and he instantly crits without even using his Luck of the Far Realms. Next up is Lae'zel, who we used to push W'wargaz into the glyph beneath his feet, dealing good damage from Luck of the Far Realms as well. Now that he's lined up nicely, I take the time to shoot a Sunbeam at him and the other Gith from Shadowheart, and a few more hits from Lae'zel bring the Inquisitor down to 7 HP in just one round. The turn then rolls back around to Malevia, who has already used her action, but we do retain a bonus action. The only real thing we can do is a normal flourish with our rapier, and I decided to crit on this using Luck of the Far Realms, which automatically uses our Divine Smite as a paladin, instantly killing W'wargaz in just one turn. So yeah, this was a pretty easy encounter using this build. The Creche was nothing really to worry about. We finish off the remaining guards and get ourselves out of there. Following the Creche, our final fight of Act 1 is Grim, and we've strategically brought in Lae'zel for this fight as well. You see, when Grim is superheated, he's really only weak to bludgeoning damage, so we've swapped Lae'zel's Gith Greatsword for a hammer, and we swapped Will's Pact Weapon out for one as well. We were luckily able to get a good hit in on Grim with the hammer, and after his initial smashing, we banished him using Shadowheart so we could take out the Mephits throughout the area. The fight could have gone a bit cleaner, but we were able to smash him again with the hammer and take Grim out with Lae'zel. Easy peasy. Following this, we obtained the adamantine shield and the heavy splint armor, giving Will the shield, myself the helm, and Shadowheart the heavy splint. And finally, we said our goodbyes to Act 1 after roughly 24 hours of in-game time. Please subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more gaming content. We're going to be playing through Act 2 live here on YouTube, so stick around for that if you're interested, and I'll also be playing through a bunch of other games on the channel as well. Please check out my primary channel if you're into lore or video essay type content, Dareloth, as we just reached 11,000 subscribers recently, and I'd love to have you join in on the fun. Please leave a like, comment, or share if you enjoyed, and again, sub if you want to. My links are down in the description and down in the pinned comment. Remember, it's free to sub, free to join the Discord, free to follow on any single platform. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Oh, Baldur's Gate 3 Act 2. I have so many mixed feelings about you. On one hand, I really like the vibes of the Shadow-Cursed lands, but on the other, I kind of get sick of it after a while. And I feel like it's just too much of a grind at times. I just get exhausted fighting the same shadow enemies over and over again, you know? I don't know. Anyway, welcome to my Act 2 recap of my Honor Mode playthrough that we've been doing live on the channel. I hope you enjoy. We took the mountain pass to get to the Shadow-Cursed lands, and there wasn't any real reason for this other than that's the way that I felt like doing it this time. But it's definitely easier to take on the Drider if you go through the Grimforge, in my honest opinion. Regardless, when we ran into the Harper ambush on us, we sided with the Harpers and took on the Drider with them from the ground level. Genuinely, he wasn't too tough. Thankfully, we had Will counterspell the Drider's first Spindleweb Sanctuary, so we were able to get some really good damage on him early into the fight. And then after trapping him and his allies in the Hunger of Hadar, which is going to be a recurring theme for the rest of this playthrough, the fight was pretty easily won.
Okay, and then double Eldritch Blast. There we go.
Unfortunately, the stupid Harpers took the Moon Lantern with the Pixie in it, so we're going to have to go without the buff for a while, meaning we'll have to actually grab a lantern from Moonrise instead until the Marcus fight. The Harpers led us back to their hideout at the Last Light Inn, where we met up with Jaheira and the Tieflings from Act 1, who vouched for us being a stand-up woman. Upon earning Jaheira's trust, we talked to Quartermaster Tali in Last Light Inn, and we got some major gear upgrades with the Cloak of Protection, Shield of Devotion, the Yuan-Ti Scale Mail, and the Mighty Cloth, which we can use on all of our NPCs. After telling Jaheira about the situation, she suggested, this is such a hard sentence to say, after telling Jaheira about the situation, she suggested that we talk with Isabel to gain protection from the Shadow Curse, but doing so will trigger a fight that I was unsure we'd win easily, so we just went about our business within the inn, talking to familiar NPCs from Act 1 like Roland, Barkus Root, and Mole, who we helped beat Raphael in faux chess. The Tieflings then tell us about a group of them that have been taken off to Moonrise Tower, and Barkus also lets us know that his friend, Wulbren Bongle, is trapped within there as well. So now we have a clear location that we should head off to. On a personal note, I did want to get to Moonrise as quickly as possible anyway for both the Lantern and to retrieve Minthara, and, for my pal Barkus, we braved the storm with nothing but a torch, being careful to not take any combats on our way there. Once we entered the Deep Shadow Curse, we gave Astarion Longstrider and made use of his cunning actions to have him double dash through the toll house to unlock the Moonrise Tower fast travel point, at which point the rest of our group teleported to him and we made our way inside. We saw this awesome cutscene with Ketheric Thorm that really sets him up as the big bad evil guy for Act 2.
Kill the goblins too.
Creaking old bag of shit!
I'm so sorry, my lord. She's an unbeliever outside my control.
Try again.
Ketheric is basically a nasty undead general whose life has been preserved far longer than it should have been, so we're going to have to find a way to end his immortality before we can actually take him in a fight. For now, we try to blend in with the cultists as we make our way through the tower. We immediately decide to free Minthara from her brainwashing and the cult, and as thanks, she decides to join us back at our camp once we have her fully free, making her the first follower that we can recruit in Act 2. Afterwards, we spoke to a thoroughly unlikable orc named Disciple Zarel, and we found a moon lantern to make our own, which I equipped to Will as his pact weapon because, I don't know, he's not really using his weapon, and I thought it'd be kind of funny. We snooped around Ketheric's room and found a note that will help us skip his fight eventually, and then we did a few more things around Moonrise before finally attempting to free the prisoners. I'm going to show you my patented method of taking out the guards down here really quick. I've never seen anyone else do this, and I've been using this method since my first playthrough.
Minor illusion. Okay, so you put a minor illusion over here. Turn-based mode. And you just push this guy off. One down. I've never seen anyone else do this, but it works like a charm. It's incredible.
Yeah, so essentially down here the ledges are your friend. Combined with Minor Illusion to lure the guards closer, you can basically beat this entire room by shoving everyone off the side. Even the scrying eyes can easily be thrown off the ledges by characters with a high enough strength stat, so removing the guards was a literal piece of cake. We do, however, want to kill the Warden traditionally though, since she has the Spellcrux necklace, an imperative item for Shadowheart in Act 3, and you can't loot it off of her if her corpse is within a chasm. And here we really get to test out our damage in Act 2, and we're kind of insane, yeah. So with the Warden dead, we free the Tieflings and return them to Last Light Inn. Once the prisoners are safe and sound, we make a mad dash to Ketheric's crazy relatives throughout the Shadow-Cursed lands, who have all become corrupted perversions of themselves from ages past. We start out with Garangoth Thorm, I think is how you say her name, and she's the Tollmaster. Well, all that you need to know about her is that she requires gold.
I require gold!
We gaslit her into thinking that we're the new Tollmaster, sent to replace her, and we melted her brain so hard that she literally exploded.
So there we go.
I require gold. No, I pay it back.
Okay. Then she just fucking explodes.
All of these fights with the Thorms can actually be skipped through dialogue, and they all kind of suck as boss fights anyway, so we're going to be doing a lot of persuasion checks here. One Thorm down. We quickly save Roland to reunite him with his family, and we move on to hang out with Thizabald Thorm, the coolest of the whole family, as far as I'm concerned.
Clank, go back down, wet your whistle, tell your story.
Now, Thizabald is literally so fat and overflowing with weight that making him drink just a bit more of whatever that stuff is in his barrel will make his fat belly explode. It's awesome. We sit at his bar and chat with him about our deeds from Act 1, blowing his mind with the tales of our victories. Not in the same way that we got Garangoth, but still. Obviously, we didn't really talk to him about what happened to Halsin, though. After a few pints, Thizabald's stomach couldn't take it anymore, and
What's gonna happen? Am I gonna blow up?
No, worse! It'll go right to your thighs!
My thighs?
And then you blow up!
Yep, he exploded. 2 Thorms down. The final Thorm relative, Malice, resides in the House of Healing, so we seek him out there. On our way, we rescue Arabella for the second time, and after telling her about the fate of her parents, who perished in the darkness, we invite her back to camp for safety, because we're a stand-up woman. We find Malice Thorm doing some medical malpractice that's almost certainly outlawed by the Geneva Conventions, and we find out that he's teaching a lesson to a group of nurses with him. Malice wants us to sit down so he can demonstrate his craft on us, but we insist that his nurses aren't ready, and that a good way for them to temper their skills would be to use their scalpels on each other.
Absent sisters, acquaint yourselves. It is a proud moment when one sees one's teachings so lovingly taken to heart.
The good doctor then invites us back up again to become his test subject so he can show us how a master does it, but we gaslit him into making himself the test subject, and he, unfortunately, doesn't explode like his other relatives, but he does stab himself right in the eyeball and insta-kill himself, which makes him the 3rd Thorm down. After having saved all of the lost tieflings, we returned to Last Light to pick up some rewards, giving Will the potent robe, and we meet this weird guy, Art Culla, who's been in a deep slumber for quite a long time. We found his loot on Malice Thorm's corpse, and we played a few notes to wake him up in a feverish state. He tells us about a lost boy named Thaniel, and that the only one who can save him is a druid by the name of...
Halsin.
Oh no. A druid by the name of Halsin. Yikes. We break the bad news to him, and Art gets really sad about the whole thing. And yeah, I am too, Art, because without Halsin's quest being available to us, we'll miss out on some essential experience points that'll get us up to level 10 by the end of Act 2. I needed to take a break, so I talked to Shadowheart back at camp after this, and I've actually never done her romance before, so I decided to go for it since my relationship with her was so high. Since we missed out on the Tiefling party from Act 1, we missed her initial cutscene, so she asked me if we could go back to the Act 1 wilderness to get the cutscene. While we traveled back to Act 1, I decided to go on a thieving spree with Astarion. We pickpocketed almost all of Dareloth's inventory in the Myconid colony, we took some stuff from Blurg, but not too much because he's the homie, and then we robbed Aaron from the Emerald Grove, who actually decided to fight back against us once we were caught, and we had to kill him. The funniest part to me is that none of this broke my oath, but freeing a prisoner of war did back in Act 1. Oh well. We got our little romance cutscene with her, and we went back to Last Light Inn, fully motivated by our new, edgy, non-committal girlfriend, and we went upstairs to meet Isabel, who I've always firmly believed looks like Jennifer Lawrence, but correct me if I'm wrong. Upon her giving us her blessing, we triggered the Marcus fight, which is imperative that we win, because if he takes Isabel, then all of Last Light Inn will... Oh, Marcus is dead. Yeah, so I hit him with some drow poison, which put his ass right to sleep, and then I applied a hunter's mark on him, and I got an auto crit due to Marcus being asleep on the ground, activating our divine smite, which killed Marcus instantly. Honor mode is simply too easy. For real though, we have so many people in Last Light after this that at this point the remaining winged horrors stood no chance against us, and we finished the entire counter without a single NPC in the inn dying. Seeing how easily that fight went, it motivated me to face the Githyanki posted up on the bridge by the entrance to Baldur's Gate. This is another fight that's much like the Emerald Grove fight in Act 1, where posting up in an advantageous position really changes the entire way that this fight is fought. If you sneak around with your party behind the Gith, they'll pop out of invisibility, but they still won't notice you. Because they're all facing the same direction, there is no one to see you sneaking up from behind them, and there's actually a tiny strip of the bridge that you can fit your entire party in. If you attack them from up here, the entire fight is free. I led off with Astarion here using Sneak Attack, and he actually missed his first shot, but we still got a surprise round on the Gith, meaning that we can essentially have an entirely free turn for everyone in our party. Being an assassin rogue, Astarion's action comes back at the start of his turn, so it was no big deal that he missed, really. We just shot again with Sneak Attack, this time landing a crit, and we used our new necklace to paralyze Chirai Tiska on, and from there we hit her twice with Malevia, and she went down in a way very similar to Marcus. The rest of the fight wasn't as clean as I would have liked, but it was fine. We put a Hunger of Hadar down there, and then we finished off the remaining Gith within, and then I decided that we would go on to clear out some more fights, like the Kuatoa, the shadows at the Sharan statue, the morgue with all the zombies, and the shadows at the Mason Guild, before finally entering Ketheric Thorm's mausoleum and descending into the Gauntlet of Shar. Down here we met up with a freaky old necromancer named Balthazar, who is one of Ketheric's chief lieutenants. When you trigger the initial cutscene with him, ancient Sharan Justiciar armor begins to animate and flood the arena, while Balthazar remains locked behind a door. Usually the idea is to destroy the orbs that are summoning the armor, and Balthazar will let you in. Unfortunately for him, we unlocked the door, forcing him and his undead ghouls to participate in the fight with us. And then we take advantage of the fact that he's drawing aggro, and we steal his room from him, making him take on all of the armor by himself. When his HP got low enough, we damaged him ourselves, making it possible for us to collect the XP for his death since he's now considered an enemy. Afterwards, we put a Hunger of Hadar at the choke point in this room, and we cleared out the remaining sets of Sharan armor before descending further into the Gauntlet. We need to find umbral gems throughout the Gauntlet of Shar to descend into the Shadowfell and find the Nightsong, which is the source of Thorm's immortality. First, we run into Yrgir, an orphan cursed by Raphael to forever hunt Dark Justiciars trapped within Ketheric's crusty old tomb. Using our most lethal weapon, our mouth, were able to trick W'wargaz into offing all of his minions, and then finally himself, claiming our first Umbral Gem before heading off to the proper trials of Shar. For the next few puzzles, I'll offer some advice to you all for how to easily complete them. First, we go to the Soft Step trial, which is probably the easiest trial of them all. Take the leftmost path and make sure to look out for the pressure plates before arriving at this window, which you can Misty Step through, preferably using a character with high sleight of hand to unlock the door, and bada bing bada boom, you now have the second Umbral Gem. Up next is the Self-Same trial, which you're going to want to be almost completely naked for on all of your characters. The reason for this is that this trial makes a clone of your characters as soon as it's accepted. Once someone has made a blood offering, you can put all of your items back on. Have your entire party sneak off to the right side of the arena and make sure that each of them find their corresponding shadow. You're only allowed to attack the shadows that belong to their respective characters, otherwise you'll get a debuff that you have to cleanse later. Once you're set up, you can take your shots, and you should be the proud owner of a third Umbral Gem. Also, don't forget to pick up this ring, the Killer's Sweetheart, on the floor wherever your PC's shadow died. It's a really good item for your build. The final room is called the Faith Leap trial, and you'll actually want to be very careful here because if you screw this one up too many times, you'll be soft locked, I believe anyway. If you're on PC and you click O on your keyboard, it'll open up the top-down camera for the game, and I think this is the easiest way to do this challenge. If you look at the floor by the offering bowl, you'll notice a map of the room. You just ungroup one of your characters from your party and have them follow the route provided by the map. If you've done everything correctly, you'll have the fourth and final gem by now. There's one final room in the Gauntlet of Shar that we should discuss, and that's the Silent Library. The gimmick of this room is that it's entirely silenced, meaning that most spells cannot be cast inside of here. This is really easily remedied though, since you can shoot a guiding bolt from your cleric at the librarian from outside of the arena, and it'll basically always destroy the thing first hit since it takes double radiant damage, and none of the Sharan armor will even notice. From there, it's just a normal-ass combat. You need the book about the Nightsong once you're done, you plug it into this spot here, and now you have the Spear of Night for Shadowheart's quest. And those are my tips and tricks for the Gauntlet of Shar. I hope you find them helpful in some way. We left before descending into the Shadowfell to tie up some loose ends, such as killing Disciple Zarel in her room, which I enjoy doing every single playthrough. It makes the final showdown at Moonrise all that much easier when you take down Moonrise's enemies beforehand, and Zarel was the first on my list. She goes down really easy due to our paralyzing crit, and we get away unnoticed by the Scrying Eye. From this point, I decided it made sense to just start killing off guards in Moonrise for XP. We wound up getting to level 9, and I was trying my hardest from here to get to level 10, but without Halsin, it was looking really rough. We did the quest with He Who Was, and that guy just sucks, so we killed him. And then we took the fight under Last Light with these weird little things, we killed some more people in Moonrise, and then we even took on the gigantic Shadow-Cursed Vineblight, which I recommend getting a lot of distance on if you choose to do this combat in your own honor run. I stuck him in the Hunger of Hadar to decrease his movement, and I used Eldritch Blast to continually shoot him back into it. Again, Hunger of Hadar is easily an S-tier spell, and it's one reason that Warlocks are not to be fucked with. We even fought these Measle guys and their dogs, but the XP just was not enough. We did wind up fighting these winged horror things in Moonrise thanks to someone in chat, and we got to see kind of a funny encounter with them. And finally, after all of that shit, I thought it was about time to find the Nightsong and get this show on the road. We let Shadowheart follow her heart, and she chose to spare Dame Aylin's life, which is good news for us, since she's really necessary for the Ketheric fight. After watching the world's glitchiest cutscene, again, my PC sucks,
Isn't this the coolest cutscene, guys?
we meet Jaheira at Moonrise Towers, and the fight is super simple. We have her join us on top for the final Ketheric encounter, because the more people the better. And if you've read that note from Ketheric's wife that we picked up earlier, it unlocks a dialogue option to have him surrender to us rather than fight us. Unfortunately, Aylin shows up, and it sort of pisses him off, so the fight ensues nonetheless. I definitely didn't play this fight optimally, I'll say, but I also think I got some really bad RNG as well. The main thing that I always do in this fight is I go for the adds first, killing off the Necromites and the Summoner before really taking the fight to Ketheric himself. Problem is he kept frightening everyone though, and I was just making honestly dumb decisions, so the fight was way more sketchy than I would have liked, but we were able to power through it. Ketheric then ran away when his HP got low enough, like a coward, and he revealed that he has had a secret tentacle monster that he's been hiding under Moonrise Tower this whole time. Neat. We follow him down and we figure out that this place is actually a Mind Flayer colony beneath Moonrise, and we begin taking every combat down here that we can in an effort to get to level 10. We found us, the Intellect Devourer from way back on the Nautiloid, and they're now available as a permanent summon. We also found and freed Zevlor and Mizora, and she gave us a really cool weapon because we had Will down here, and we also passed a speech check with her. We weren't quite able to make it to level 10 before the fight, so I just had to huff my copium and enter the arena anyway. Before the fight, I summoned Scratch, us, an Earth Elemental, and a Cambion from my new rapier that Mizora gave us. From here I granted aid and Longstrider to each one of our new party members, and I doled out a few potions as well before getting down to face Ketheric once more. We figured out that Ketheric was in cahoots with 2 other people, and they have control over an Elder Brain at this time, which they've tricked everyone into thinking is a god named the Absolute. With the Absolute, they plan to take control over Baldur's Gate and probably eventually the world or something like that. The point is, these 3 are not nice.
That's not nice. That's not nice. That's not nice. Proud of you guys.
Back to the gameplay side of things though, it's really important that you have your party members stealth tier, since you can get some really good positions if you do. I got Astarion set up behind this Mind Flayer here, and then I moved Shadowheart to take on these Necromites, while I had Will ready to free Dame Aelin at a moment's notice. I kept myself and all the summons right in front of Ketheric, and then I decided that it made sense to just directly walk right up to him. In the true fashion of the Thorm family name, Ketheric was able to be talked into killing himself, so we were able to skip the entire phase 1 of this fight, but unfortunately this summoned an even tougher boss, the Apostle of Myrkul. This fight was more a battle of attrition than anything else thus far. We took out the initial adds with ease, but actually dealing damage to Myrkul was really annoying with our characters, since if you get within melee range of him, your character is bone chilled, which means that they can't be healed. Honestly, my best advice here is just to stay away from him and use chip damage to whittle him down. Also, I have lots of summons, so that way you can get rid of his adds, while also dealing good damage to him. I chose the Earth Elemental, by the way, because it deals bludgeoning damage and skeletons are weak to it. The fight was a little bit sloppy. Again, I could have used some abilities that would have helped tremendously, but at the end of the day, we did get the kill on the Apostle, so I can't really complain. And wouldn't you know it, we finally got to level 10 by the end of this fight, so that was a nice reward. We spoke to our dream visitor, who can actually talk to us in person now, and then we left and had a nice little get-together with all of our pals, and Jaheira told us that she wanted to join our party to help end the threat of the Absolute. And that's how I beat Act 2 of Baldur's Gate 3. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, or found it useful in some way for your own honor runs. We'll be streaming Act 3 live on the channel when this comes out, and I'd love to see you there. If you did like the video, please leave a like, comment, or share, and if you'd like to stick around for further videos, please subscribe. I'd also like to give a thank you to my channel members who are generous enough to donate a small portion of their income to help support the production of these videos and everything else on the channel. Special thank you to Wet Noodle, Naji aka Tracy, Jug, B. Wolf, Aaron Dobbs, Dishonored Pro 3500, Ophelia Drowning, Ken P. Lamont Diamenti, OOP, Ruin Cod, Breezy Stratton, Zhong Gina, The Thin White Duke, Joel Evers, Debash, Inherent Manax, Soulless 6X, TJ, username here, Peace, Ranger McKay, Inked Up, The Heat Inferno, YB, Dennis Riverola, Jake AS, Gletscherminza, Combat Cat 99, FrySky 2X, Skooma Addict, and Danny S. If you'd like to become a channel member yourself, please click the link down below to find out more about the perks of joining. There will also be links for my other socials below, as well as the Discord for the channel, where you can meet and get to know some of the awesome people in the community. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Okay, finally guys, we've come to Act 3. This part of the video has taken me 6 actual months to make. Not because it was tough to edit or anything, but just because I've been doing other things and making other videos, so I'm glad to finally be able to bring you the conclusion of this run. I'm just going to get right into things, but if you haven't seen parts 1 and 2, you can go check them out before this one for full context into this playthrough. Anyway, we leave Act 2 and watch a couple of scuffed cutscenes in a row, because that's just how we do it here, and as we try to get some nice sleep on our way to finally get to Baldur's Gate, we're ambushed by some Githyanki. The Gith are attacking our Dream Visitor inside of the Astral Prism, so we enter to defend them, only to find out that the Dream Visitor has been a Mind Flayer named the Emperor this whole time. We team up with him, defeat the Gith with little to no problem, and we accept the Emperor's Astral Tadpole that he offers, which allows us access to further illithid powers. Once back in camp, we gaslight everyone into abusing these powers, making our entire party pretty ugly but also pretty powerful. After that, we make our way into Rivington outside the city, and basically this place is a checklist for us to get some XP before entering the city proper. We start at Arthur Gregorio's house, where we evict him because he's just generally a piece of shit, and we kill his bodyguards for the XP.
Easy. Dude, Call the Week makes this game so easy.
We find his basement full of explosive toys, and we tell the authorities about his crimes against humanity. Next, we enter the circus. We piss off the genie by stealing his ring, we test our love with Shadowheart, and we get a little one-on-one with Orin, one of the 2 big bad evil guys in Act 3 that must be killed to progress the game. Orin is a shapeshifter and a ball spawn, meaning that she can be anywhere and everywhere, and also that she loves murdering people. We next meet Dribbles the Clown, who's performing at the circus, and what do you know, he turned out to be a shapeshifter as well. The insane clown and his posse are taken out, and we leave the circus onto our next adventure, not giving a single fuck about the chaos sown in our wake. That's like the most fun thing that we'll do in Rivington, so I'm going to try to do the next part of the checklist in a single breath. We cursed the monk's laughing fit, told Tara to stop eating carrier pigeons, helped out a harper in distress, found out the fate of Fionn, talked to the devil you know, got a bomb from Wolbrin, fought the combined forces of the Stone Lord and the Guild, broke Floric out of jail, met a handsome man apparently, and then we left for Baldur's Gate. Whew, okay, nice. Once inside the city, we immediately got a room at the Elfsong Tavern, and we went on our merry way to meet Volo, doing a few various things on the way that aren't really that worth mentioning. Volo is in a bit of a bind when you first meet him, so we kill all the cultists that are trying to attack him in the most convoluted way possible by igniting a trail leading to some barrels. It's like some serious Batman-level traps. Volo is extremely important to save in Honor Mode since he gives you the book regarding the Slayer, which gives any character who reads it advantage on attack rolls against Slayers, which is the form that Orin takes during her boss fight. If you can just get a character near Volo, you can just take all of the barrels because it doesn't count as an action to pick up an item in Baldur's Gate 3, so just steal all the explosive barrels and then you'll have all the time in the world to get him free. After Volo, we moved on to fight Dolor, a ballist assassin. Initially, you're given a bunch of possible murder targets on a list, but Dolor will always spawn first at a woman named Cora under a false alias. Just attack him out of nowhere and start the fight, and make sure you have someone with counterspell so they can counterspell his dimension door boots that he always does first thing. Dolor's fight is nothing crazy, but we did get enough XP to boost up to level 11, which is of course exciting, and we also get this handbag. literally a bag full of hands. We can use this bag to gain entrance to the Ballast Cult, so we keep them for later. After that, we did this really goofy exploit on Dammon at his forge, since he has some busted stuff. We knocked him out with non-lethal damage and then stole the Armor of Persistence off his body while he was KO'd. It's one of the best sets of armor in the game at this point, granting permanent resistance and blade ward, so we equipped that on Malevia pretty quickly. At this point, I went back to Rivington to do the Onsur stuff because it gives you a ton of XP for free, which is usually wasted at this point in a playthrough. But I decided to take the easy XP where I could, so we solved all the puzzles and then left, netting us a nice jump on our way to level 12. I thought the next good place to go would be the Counting House, since, again, there's a lot of free XP here, and I'm just a junkie for that stuff. So just walking down the stairs gains you like 1000 XP if you have the bank pass. We eventually make our way into the vaults and loot the place dry before meeting the Stone Lord.
So cool.
There's no gold in here.
The Stone Lord turns out to be Minsc from Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, so we're basically contractually obligated to make him live. We kill the Ball Assassins in the bank and move on to our next free XP point area, under the Elfsong Tavern. So a fun way to completely avoid this fight, by the way, is to simply pass this intimidation check with the Chirai. Do that and you get an instant 1300 XP. Literally easy mode. We then enter the sewers and find our buddy Gale.
I did not know Gale could be one of the people that was kidnapped.
Well, I guess that it turns out that that wasn't Gale. But that's okay. Can't have shit in Baldur's Gate. Motherfuckers took Gale. Oh well, we'll get him back soon enough. While traversing the sewers, though, we run into this weird, greasy, draconic bloodline hobo. He thinks we're involved with the Absolute in some way, so he's pretty upset, but if you talk him down, he'll actually grant you over 3000 XP. Do you see how easy it is to level up with a charisma character? It's actually just insane. So we progress through the sewers a little more, and we finally catch up with Minsc, the Stone Lord. Minsc is hostile towards us because he's being brainwashed by the Absolute. Killing him here is a no-go, so make sure that you turn on non-lethal damage, and make sure that Cold a Week is turned off. Also, whenever you do this fight, kill Roa Moonglow first because she has a sack with 10,000 gold in it. Once Minsc has been defeated, you'll have to convince the Emperor to provide him protection against the Absolute's will. But once that's done, he'll join your party as a companion provided that you save Jaheira in Act 2. The reason that we did all of Minsc's questline is to enter the guild for an extremely easy fight. Since we freed Minsc from the influence of the Absolute, the forces of the Stone Lord and the guild are butting heads, resulting in a huge fight in the guild hall. We can take the high ground here and basically just hit shots on everyone below for massive damage. I brought Jaheira and Minsc along with me just for fun. Sure enough, this fight was easy, and the XP sent me and everyone else up to level 12, where our build ends at 2 levels of Paladin, 10 levels of Bard. From here on out, our leveling is complete, so I felt comfortable enough to take on every encounter in our way. I thought the Iron Throne would be a good place to start since, 1, it was fairly low on combat, and 2, I just want to kill Gortash before Orin. Now I've done this escape from the Iron Throne many times. I've even done it with 0 deaths before. But I goofed it a little on this attempt. I would highly recommend grabbing Dolor's Dimension Door boots before attempting this, and also summoning as many things as you can to assist in the Gauntlet. Take whatever party member you have with Dimension Door to go grab Ravengard from his cell, and when Mizora summons her spiders, you can just teleport the Grand Duke away from them. I, unfortunately, despite grabbing the boots of Dimension Door specifically for this reason, forgot to equip them, so Ravengard's escape was a little scuffed, but we actually got there in the end. I'd also take someone either hasted or with the click heal boots, or something to rush for Omeluum, since it can instantly teleport people up to the submersible every round once it's added to your party. The other prisoners are all optional to grab, but I think they're fun to get nonetheless, so I like to try my best to get them all to escape. We were extremely close in getting everyone out, but for some reason these archers didn't really like this guy.
Hoster's dead. It's kind of disappointing that someone died. I felt like we actually had this pretty well under control. Thank God.
Other than that though, it was almost flawless. Again, if you have party members with high mobility, lots of summons, and you just make sure that you're killing the adds as they crop up, especially the ones in Ravengard's room, you'll have an easy time. Some adds are not necessary to fight if there's no more prisoners of war on their way from a particular direction, though. Once we're back on the surface, I broke into Ramazaith's tower and plundered his dungeon on our way to free the Gondians. We stole the Tome of Thakurite Vigor and the Annals of Karsus from below, and we also made sure to take the Marka Heshkir, which is an incredibly useful staff for a reason that I'll get into in a moment. I created a Storm Sorcerer and equipped them with the Marka Heshkir, and proceeded to take my party inside of the Steel Watch Foundry. We easily freed the gnomes from their oppressors on the first floor before descending downstairs, and while it wasn't the easiest thing in the world, it really wasn't that hard either. The reason that we made a sorcerer is because we get access to what's called meta magic, and one of the meta magics is called Twinned Spell, which allows for one spell to be cast 2 times at once. Larian made sure to have only a select few spells be able to be twinned. However, there is something that I believe they have not yet realized. If you have the Marka Heshkir equipped, you can give yourself the spell Kareshka's Favor, which offers the wielder a bonus to a certain type of damage, and spells that reflect that damage's type. If we select the Bolts of Doom Favor, we receive access to a special version of Chain Lightning that appears right here. If we use this specific Chain Lightning, we can cast it using the Meta Magic Twinned Spell, which is obviously overpowered as hell. So I took my party down to fight the Steelwatch Titan to test out our strength, and we killed it with relative ease, then blew up the foundry and went on our merry way to slaughter Gortash. If you have your party stealthed, you can skip all of the initial fight in Worm's Rock, so just sneak past everyone then head upstairs. Okay, so this fight and Orin's fight are the real reasons that I made this sorcerer character. As you all should know, Gortash has all of these shield generators and traps in his arena. However, if you twin spell Chain Lightning on them, not only can you destroy them, but you get really nice damage spread throughout the room. So I attempted to do this by sneaking my party behind Gortash in a little alcove on the right side of the room. You can just use Misty Step or Dimension Door to traverse the sightlines. I had everyone all in position, and I was going to get Astarion set up for a sneak attack behind him, but somehow I was caught. I don't really understand how. Thankfully, we were still able to blow up the room, but it wasn't as smooth as I would have liked. However, once we got into the actual combat, it was fine, since our party is just OP at this point.
We don't need to react. We do Paralyzing Critical on him. Boom. He's gonna... Okay, I guess he breaks out of that. This is not going as planned. This is not going as planned. This. Okay, we hit him. Okay, well then that makes me feel a little bit better that I don't have to use my max level 1. 3, 4. Let's try this. Wow. Gortash is stuck. We just crit him. Yeah, I mean, I think we just won. Well, that was way more stressful than it needed to be. But hey, we did it.
And after acquiring our second Netherstone, I went over to the House of Grief to do the Viconia fight, which really isn't too big of an issue so long as you have some AoEs. Not too much to talk about from there, to be honest. I spent a long time after this just tying up loose ends and doing every boss encounter I could think of. We killed Auntie Ethel in like 2 minutes. The strategy in this fight is to kill the masks outside the room so they aren't spawned in to help Ethel, then take out the mushrooms in her arena if you can. You want to throw the Hagsbane at her to get her to vomit up, then just dump all your highest level attacks on her. I was able to hit Ethel with a 6th level Divine Smite, then Lae'zel just killed her with a normal weapon attack. Piece of cake.
Okay.
After Ethel, I thought it made sense to go after Cazador, who I really had a hard time with in my previous Honor mode. But the key to having an easy time with this fight is just not bringing Astarion with you. I could have actually killed him in one turn if I'd had Will attack him instead of the ads, but I was worried about them at the time. But yeah, it was literally nothing.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I guess I was worried about this fight for absolutely no reason.
I did allow Astarion to complete Cazador's ritual because I wanted him to be buffed up for the final confrontation with the Netherbrain, even though it's kind of a terrible, horrible thing to do. Sarevok then was up next to kill, and I actually glitched the game here, which I'm kind of proud of. So I wanted as controlled of a fight as I could have, so I played along with the Murder Tribunal at first, and while he was here in this hallway, I not only trapped him in a Hunger of Hadar, but also inside of an insect plague and a spike growth. So he was kind of fucked. Sarevok, though, just decided to stop doing anything, which honestly was a perfectly valid counterplay.
I will not tolerate impudence. This place shall be.
Oh, is he going to do something? I think the AI doesn't know what to do. Loading, yep. Like, does he have an opening move that he usually does? Because he's frightened, and he can't see. So, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to have to shut my PC down. So, I will be back.
I guess the AI got so confused and realized that it was his best option to just stay put. Which again, fair. But it wouldn't end Sarevok's turn, so I wound up resetting, and I did the same thing again, just without the spike growth this time, so hopefully he'd move. Fortunately, the second time it did work, and it worked really well, so we killed him with relative ease. Mystic Carrion was up next to die. Honestly, it was way harder than it needed to be, but that's just because I only killed Thrumbo, and I didn't bother to get his other parts killed. My advice for this fight is just to have someone with Remove Curse available in some way to deal with his legendary action, but other than that, he's fine. I just put down 2 Hungers of Hadar and whittled him away slowly.
There we go, we got him.
Then we went to finally kill off Lorroakin, who again I was a little worried about for some reason. I had a bad experience fighting him too early one time, I think, and it made him really scary in my mind, but well, we just sort of killed him immediately.
Okay, we got a crit. And then we'll crit like this. Oh, what? Oh, he was banished. Okay, yeah, that's right. Welcome back, buddy. Whatever. Don't care. Alright.
Not much to talk about here, really. You can pretty easily knock him off the ledge of his arena and just get him out of the fight super early. Also, just focus on the Myrmidons and you'll be fine.
You are broken by beauty.
Such a good cutscene, dude.
Okay, so after we took a detour fighting side bosses, I decided to continue the main quest by going after Orin. I had 2 objectives: save Gale and retrieve the Netherstone. That's it. And there's a really advantageous spot that you can use to set up for Orin. Just have your party members sneak, cast Featherfall, and then have them jump down to this spot right here. Just make sure that you can stay out of enemy sightlines. From here, I set my master plan in motion. So I approached Orin with Malevia and passed a speech check with her so she wouldn't stab Gale. Then, with Malevia being the only party member in combat, I used an invisibility potion on Astarion and had him lockpick Gale to set him free, adding him to the combat and freeing our boy from his bonds. Because Astarion is also a Gloomstalker Ranger / Assassin Rogue, he gets his action refunded upon entering combat. So now it's Malevia, Gale, and Astarion versus Orin and her gang. But we're not done yet. I have to explain a mechanic about the Orin fight first. Orin gains stacks of Unstoppable at the end of every turn based on how many of these guys around her are alive at the end of each round, and each stack of Unstoppable you have absorbs incoming damage from attacks. So, we have to kill these guys first, but they have Sanctuary cast on them, meaning that they can't be directly damaged. So, how do you do this fight then? Well, I got rid of the Storm Sorcerer, but I just respect Will to be essentially the same thing, and I had him use Chain Lightning, the same trick that we did on Gortash, and this time, he set up on 2 specific ballists. When Will cast this spell, very similar to the Gortash fight, it blows up the room, immediately killing 3 of the Chanters.
Chain Lightning. There we go.
For some reason, and I don't really understand why, Will also received his actions again upon entering combat. Then, we used Astarion to shoot some arrows. We hit an arrow of many targets, killing another chanter. And with 2 arrows of Roaring Thunder, we knocked the other chanters off the edge of the map, killing almost everyone in the arena before Orin even made a move. We were doing so well that I even forgot to do anything with Shadowheart. I ended my turn as she was still in stealth. So then we just whittled Orin's initial unstoppable stacks away, and I shot her with Will, and, well, let me just show you.
Yeah, we'll just kill her. 2, 3. We actually almost... Wait, did we just knock her off the... Okay. I thought she couldn't be knocked off the ledge, but apparently I was mistaken. She didn't even look like she was gonna go off the edge. Gravity for the win, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought she had ledge protection in honor mode like the Spider Matriarch in Act 1, but I guess not. It was also really weird how she died because she wasn't even over the ledge, but a win is a win. I'll take it. The Orin fight was extremely easy. We saved Gale and retrieved our Netherstone. Successful journey, all in all. And then we finished up the other 2 difficult fights in Act 3 before the Netherbrain, Ansur and Raphael. Starting with Ansur. The Ansur fight is actually not too bad. You just want to stock up on dragon slaying arrows throughout your playthrough, and for the most part you'll be good. Just make sure your first attack on Ansur is by a character who's faced away from the rest of the party, since the first time he takes damage every round, he uses a Dragon Breath attack as a reaction. When he does his big lightning AoE attack, just break a line of sight with him using the crystal barriers as cover. You'll know if you're protected when you no longer see this status on your bar. And yeah, we just whittled him away piece by piece. I like to set the genie up by himself to deal with one of the Myrmidons, since he can just knock people off the map.
Go. It's possible. Heart of the cards. Hell yeah. Okay.
Ansur is also supposed to gain a ton of temp HP when he's defeated, and then he does another big explosion, but we accidentally bypassed that whole phase by using our reverberation stacks that Will gains through the use of his necklace.
Realms on. Oh, hey! We just killed it. Wait. That's not supposed to be how that happens.
So that's a fun little tech if you didn't know it. But yeah, Ansur was not too bad. Then we moved on to the House of Hope, and we totally cheesed this encounter. It wasn't free by any means, but we took a lot of the challenge out of it by setting up these barrels in advance. The pillars here are essential to destroy during the Raphael fight, and by setting up explosive barrels in the arena, you can ensure that they're eliminated pretty quickly. We work our way through, grab the Orphic Hammer, free Hope, and then confront Raphael. It's also really important that you know, in Honor mode, Raphael's Healing Bath only has one use, so you need to use it strategically after all the enemies are dead. While we talk to Raphael, we turn Yrgir against him, and then the fight ensues. So I would advise that you place 4 barrels per pillar, since I didn't get all of them to explode with only 3, so that's just a pro gamer tip for you. We were able to destroy all of them before Raphael's first turn, but we missed out on a lot of meaningful potential damage that could have been spread around the arena because of this. But yeah, I'll show you the highlights from the fight. Once more, AoEs and Eldritch Blast The fight was a little scuffed, but it overall went fine. And with Raphael now defeated, we moved on to face the Netherbrain. When you go down to face the brain the first time, you can stealth past the entire Intellect Devourer encounter, by the way. We meet with the brain with all the power of the Netherstones, and the brain reveals its big evil mastermind plan against us. We're met with several skill checks while we're in here that can subdue the brain, but only one of them matters, with a DC 99 skill check that can only be beaten by a nat 20. We've been stacking our inspiration for this moment, since it's the final dice roll of the game. And when confronted with the check, we rolled.
Oh, whoa! No fucking way. First roll. Nat 20 on the 99 DC. Okay.
I honestly can't believe that this happened, since we didn't even have advantage here, but again, I'll take it, man. This run was really going way too smoothly at this point. Basically, since Gortash, the game had just become a cakewalk. So anyway, we subdued the Netherbrain, which just means that it'll have reduced HP in the final fight. Then we're cast back into the Astral Prism, and here we allowed the Emperor to eat Orpheus's brain, which is a double-edged sword. On one hand, I wouldn't recommend you do this since Orpheus has way better abilities than the Emperor does. But on the other hand, if you don't side with him, the Emperor will be in combat with you later, so pick your poison. Either way, we met with all of our allies and then made our way up to the brain. You can skip this entirely if you're smart enough. Again, just use some sneaking. If you take the right side path and you go stealthed, you can sneak through this tiny crack in the wall and then just use a mixture of dashing, flying, and teleporting to get one of your party members to the stem of the brain. I recommend using invisibility spells or potions to do this. Once that's done, all of your party members automatically teleport up there with you. I unfortunately couldn't do this fully since most of my party got caught in combat on the lower level. So we just had to finish all that combat up, and then we made our way up to the top of the fight. Now I tried to go in invisibly, but they patched that exploit, so I was sort of under pressure here. Thankfully, the Emperor was still invisible, so that was extremely helpful. And I had a loose plan here, but I was mostly freeballing it at this point, to be honest, and generally for most of the playthrough I was as well. So I tried to use Dimension Door to get the Emperor and myself closer to the Crown of Karsus, but I got counterspelled.
Did we just get counterspelled?
Then we got a bug too, where I had to reset the game, but it was totally fine since it was saved right where we were. But yeah, I was definitely getting more nervous here as the clock ticked on. Eventually, I just had the Emperor approach the brain since he was invisible, and I moved Shadowheart up with a Scroll of Darkness, which thankfully didn't get counterspelled. And this was my plan, to cast Darkness so creatures wouldn't target the Emperor, and then just hope that nothing else knocked him out of concentration while he worked on opening the portal. Thankfully, the Emperor was safe during this whole time. However, Malevia got lit up by magic missiles from the Illithids, then the dragon used fire breath on her, and with the final wave of magic missiles, I tried to counterspell it, but I misclicked.
Stop it. Oh, I hit do not react. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. This is fine.
Yeah, so I was annoyed with myself here, needless to say, but we pressed on. I had Will pick Malevia up, and then one by one, I led my team into the portal. The Netherbrain on Honor Mode is very similar to the Netherbrain on Normal, except that at the end of each of its turns, it becomes temporarily immune to all types of damage that it took in the previous round, so damage types matter here a lot. Thankfully, we did have its health reduced by quite a bit due to that insane skill check earlier. And I won't spoil the ending. This video has been a long time coming, so here is the conclusion to Malevia's adventure.
I guess we'll hit it with Chain Lightning because no one else is going to be using lightning, so that's 46 damage right there. Oh my god, that's like half the arena already. Jesus Christ. I know I brought the Rune Powder barrel in with me, but I really don't think that we need to use it at this point. I think we've got this. We'll hit a crit. Oh fuck, man. That's not good. Here's a crit. Good. Damn, dude. I'm gonna have to... Here, I'm gonna make an attack. I'm going to make my extra attack. I guess Will's going to die. Yeah. Okay, goodbye, Will. The platform my guy was standing on didn't explode, so I don't know how he died. That sucks. Flame Strike should be fine here. Yep. Okay, and we actually almost died there. 3rd level spiritual weapon. Oh, no, 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 no. Stop walking. Stop walking that far. What's wrong with you? Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Okay. Thunderous Smite. Seems kind of decent. Or just Divine Smite, level 5.
Hope your soul is in good hands.
Luck the Far Realms. There we go. Oh my god, dude. What the fuck?
So yeah, we did it. I'm really happy to tell you that Malevia survived and the day was saved. Since the first video in this one, I've gotten a new and upgraded PC, so the days of the terrible cutscenes are over, and this run will forever live on as an immortalization of my old computer. Rest in piss, buddy. And I'd like to give a shout out to my channel members whose contributions to this channel have made it possible for me to be more consistent in my upload schedule. Special thanks to Rasol, Jake White, Christoph Vensels Bore, Jack Launder, Hass, Content Pill, Braden Thompson, Jarl Ulfric Stormcloak, Zickard, Skooma Addict, Rushfan217, Luke, Gary Combine, Ilya J, Friendly Trevor 95, To the Max, Alex McLaren, One Time I Punched a Dolphin, Sterling Brute Curcio, Brave Fen, Arthur Colpani da Silva, HS Crimson, Drake Butler, Chad Clayton, Calorine Darkness, Celise, Silver Balls, Sintola, Ina the Khajiit, Peace, Sophie, British Rogue, The Thin White Duke, Sequencer, Sir Ragu III, Brendao Almeida Santos, Marcus Strangle, Omo, Jacob Waymo 22, Abby Normal, Faust Lament, The Chosen J, Alexis Price, Ranger McKay, Breezy Stratton, Jake A.S., Soulless Saint, TJ, Ophelia Drowning, Naji aka Tracy, Jug, B. Wolf, Aaron Dobbs, Dishonored Pro 3500, OOP, Joel Evers, Debash, and Inherent Man X. Thank you guys all so much, and I will talk to you in the next one. Peace out.